Hello and welcome to Get Started. I'm Merlin, and in this video we come to the end of our Warhammer 40,000 Command Edition journey as we build the indomitable Necron Overlord and the towering Thermo-Exchanger Shrine. Also in this video we'll add new details to our Necron Overlord, taking him up to the same level as our Space Marine Captain, and we'll also tackle some new details on terrain pieces such as the Exchanger Shrine and the power generator from our pipes from episode 2. Finally, in our play section, we learn the importance of characters, why you must protect them, and what benefits they bring to games of Warhammer 40,000. But for this video, we're going to focus on building. So, let's cover the Mad Merlin's health and safety tips. 1. Work in a well-lit and well-ventilated area, especially when you're using glues. 2. Have a flat and sturdy surface to work on. Kitchen table or your computer desk will be fine. 3. Seek adult supervision, especially when you're using sharp tools like modelling clippers and hobby knives. And 4. Take your time and don't rush yourself. Remember, it's better to dry fit if you're not too sure how components go together, and then apply glue afterwards. Okay, grab your Necron Overlord and your Thermo-Exchanger Shrine from your Command Edition box, and I will see you at the build desk. Okay, if you turn to page 66 and 67 in your command manual, you'll find the instructions for your Overlord and Thermo-Exchanger Shrine. But follow along with me and I'll give you a few extra hints and tips on how to make the most out of building these models. So here we have our Necron Overlord. He's on the same frame as our Space Marine Captain. And as you can see, we got the 5 components that make up our Overlord. On our frame, we've got his 40mm base. I've also got a 32mm base, which was spare in my Command Edition box, as one of the hints I'm going to give you is about attaching a subassembly to the base. So, looking at our build guide, we see the first components we need are D1 and D5. So D1 is the main body and D5 is his glaive. So we'll cut those out, taking care around fragile components. And making sure we're keeping the flat of the clippers up against our model component. Just work your way around the model, clipping out each component until it falls from the frame. Do not remove this bit, as that is part of the model. It may look like a tab, but it is actually part of the wrist. So, I'll clean these up off camera and we're ready to put our first assembly together. So our first 2 components are cleaned up. And all we've got to do is push the small peg on the back of on the inside of the spine into the hole on the back there. Like so, making sure these pieces line up like so. Make sure when you are gluing your models, you apply glue to here and to the peg hole. But for the moment, I'm going to be leaving this guy as he is. Right, next up, let's clip out parts D2 and D3. This forms the front of the torso and his right arm. So, 3 is this component right here. So we'll clip just there, either side of his ribs. And then we got 2 tabs just on his shoulders. There we go, that's that component. And D2 is his face here. So we'll want to clip the hand free first, if I can get my clippers in place. Like so. Then we'll clip the head free. Then we can fine clip the body and his upper arm. I'll clean those up and we can begin our second assembly. With our second 2 components clipped out, we're ready to bring them together. So we need to hook this part of the shoulder pad over the arm, like so. Then the head will swoop into place, like that. We can see where the 2 parts join, just underneath his royal raiments there. So, with that done, we can bring back our previous assembly. And we can push the post there into the hole just on the inside of his torso. That will then once clicked into place, will hold everything in perfectly. Oop, I forgot to locate his arm properly. His arm needs to fit just into that little dent there, like so. So we have one last component to clip out, and that's D4, which is his tachyon arrow, which is this component just here. So, just 3 little cuts, 1, 2, and 3. We'll give that a quick clean up off camera. There we go. And now onto our Overlord. We need to locate this little tab just into his back there, and the tab on his arm into the hole just there. And there we have our Overlord complete. All we've got to do is push him down to his 40mm base, lining up 2 holes like so, and pushing him down. So there we have our Overlord complete. And now for the optional sub-assembly. Right, to make our optional sub-assembly, we first have to take our Overlord. We're going to unlocate the arm, like so. Then gently pull on the back of the spine till it comes out, like so. Then we can put our Overlord back on his base, like that. And we can take our glaive arm and push it onto a 32mm base, like so. That just makes it now so that we can reach all the different details that would otherwise be hard to get to. If you are going to leave your Overlord in this sub-assembly, make sure you do so before applying any glue to your model. But with that done, we'll move on next to our Thermo-Exchanger Shrine. So here we have our Thermo-Exchanger Shrine, and while this is the largest of our terrain pieces, it is by no means any harder than our previous kits. So there are 3 stages to this build. Stage 1 is made up of 2 sub-assemblies. To make it easier, we'll go in number order for this stage. So let's start with parts C1, C2 and C3. So C1 is the main base just here. There are quite a few tabs dotted around this model, but take your time. And eventually you'll clip all your components out. And finally, C2 and C3 are these pieces just here. So again, we'll work our way around the components, clipping them from the frame. Like so. I'll clean these up and they'll be back for our first sub-assembly. Okay, with our components cleaned up, ready to put our first sub-assembly together. So making sure we have our base in the correct orientation with this little hump just to this side, to its left, we'll take part 3 and that locates like so onto those components, onto those little pegs. We'll do the same for part 2. Just push it down onto the pegs, and then we have our base complete. Okay, our next sub-assembly requires C4, no, not the explosive, and C5. So these are the two halves of the massive silo from the Exchanger Shrine. So we'll just work our way, clipping these components off the frame. Just take your time. And these are getting a little worn. I might have to get a new pair. There we go. So that's our two halves cut out. I'll just clean those up and then we can start bringing them together. So here we have the two halves of our Exchanger Shrine. Now, if we look on the inside of part C4, we'll notice a series of pegs dotted around our model. And on C5, we've got a series of holes. We just need to line up the two halves and press firmly until our components together. Finally, for this sub-assembly, we need C6, which is the cap to the Exchanger Shrine. So just 4 little snips, like so. And it's only a quick cleanup, so just scrape those nubs flat with my knife. Like so. And now we can bring in all 3 components. So with our 3 components, we'll push the tabs on top of our silo into the holes on the other side of the cap, like so. And then we've got a large post and a small post there. Plus we have this pipe piece coming out, which fits along here. And we've got our plug there. There we go. Pushing that together, that finishes the main build of our Thermo-Exchanger Shrine. So now we're on to detailing it. So the first details we're going to put on are these side panels here. These are C10 and C9. We'll also need C11, this valve, to attach to C10. So let's clip those out right now. Again, these are going to be just a few snips and they'll be free. And I'll get those cleaned up. And to build these components, we'll take C11 and push the post into the hole on C10. And then we got a little tab there, which lines up the slot. And we got another tab just there, which goes into that slot. So we put C10 on the left side, and then C9 the same on the right side. Pushing it down till it clicks into place. So we've only got two components left. And those components are C7 and C8. Our regulators, which attach to the side of our silo. We'll clean them up as usual off camera. If we look closely at each of these components, we can see that one side has a slightly shorter side. So this is C7, and that slots in to the two holes on the right side, and C8 slot into the left side. And with that, our Thermo-Exchanger Shrine is ready for the tabletop. And there you have it. We've finished our Warhammer 40,000 Command Edition journey by building our last two models. So we've got our Necron Overlord and our Thermo-Exchanger Shrine. Next up, let's put some paint on these. There we go. We've built everything in our Command Edition box. Now we're ready to take things to the next level. In our next video, we'll paint additional details on our Necron models, focusing mainly on the Overlord. But feel free to apply these methods to your other Necron models. We'll also look at painting details on the Thermo-Exchanger Shrine and the power control bank from our pipes. I've been Merlin. This has been Get Started. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.